Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Alhamdulillah, we are continuing the topic regarding questions and answers about Islamic veil. Just before I go into the topic of school and colleges and university education, I like to share my experiences that I saw when I was a young age, when I attended primary school. And them days, alhamdulillah, we find it that we had small groups of boys and then we had small groups of girls separately in them days. And this could be in 1990s, 1991, etc. Then moving up to secondary school as well. As time went forward, we started seeing that in schools that the grouping was changed into mixed groups. And then after that, then when coming into the 20th century, that we came across the secondary school and university, that boys and girls were actually seated together and actually forced in some of the schools to sit together like this, as it was a part of the education system. Now, if you look in town, the secondary school I attended was the Halifax High. And if you look at outside the school itself, it does say boy, and on the other side it says girls as well. So we can see in them days it was less bihai, and we see that a majority of the girls were wearing a hijab at that time as well. But now, as we're coming to the end times as well, we're seeing that the uniform conduct, the uniform has changed and the hijab has been taken off. And in 1991, I remember my father, his first mobile phone was quite a huge phone, and it was a 2G network at that time, and I could see there was huge buttons on there. So there was no social media, there was not even internet on there. The only browsing you could probably do is search for the news on there on them days. But now, as we've come to the 20th century, that we see that social media has progressed so much that we see that there's a lot of wrong things on there. And a lot of our youngsters, the majority in school, colleges and universities, even some in primary school, youngsters carry mobile phones, which is a danger to the education as well. And we face that when they're on social media quite a lot, that it affects the education. They stop learning, they get into bad habits. And we see in schools that they're using certain substances like vape pens and chemicals. When they're added, they go on to substances that are very addictive, that they are unable to control themselves at that point. So obviously, I've approached schools myself, and I've told schools that they should put jammers on in the schools. And in some of my meetings that I've had with the council as well, and I've told them, look, the school should ban mobile phones. They should put jammers on there so it doesn't affect the education. And they kind of laughed at me, and they smiled. We can't do this in every school, So these things have been put there, by people who have corrupt minds, who have filthy minds, and they're trying to destroy humanity. And, Islam wants to save us. And this is why I'm discussing this topic with yourselves. Even in them days, in 1930s and 40s, we come across Christians as well, that they covered themselves following the footsteps of Maryam, which is Jesus' mother, Mary. She also had the hijab and a modest dressed as well. So we've come across that there are some, good Christians out there that understand these things as well. That we should have baggy clothes, and they had long skirts, that didn't reveal their legs and etc. But like we've come into the end times, and we've in the 20th century, even that's changed as well. Tight clothing and revealing the body parts and etc. So the first topic I'm going to discuss today, the Islamic verdict about co-education nowadays. So is it safe for Islamic sisters or brothers to go into a classroom together? How the education system is. So what is the Islamic verdict about co-education? The answer is, modern co-education for those who have reached puberty is completely prohibited, haram, and will lead to the fire of hell. Women and college, the next topic. Question: these days, what danger does a girl face in a school or college? So the answer is, since women have entered schools, colleges, and universities, a big door of chaos has opened. Al-Amana wal-Hafidh. Firstly, the uniforms do not fulfill veiling requirements. Even in places where the burqa, etc., is worn, they are usually attractive and therefore inappropriate. Secondly, young girls walking outside their homes freely create 1,000 problems amongst college girls and interact informally with college boys. There are probably very few who preserve their chastity. Stories of their love affairs and sins are published in newspapers every day, even on social media. Sometimes parents obstruct a love marriage, which leads many boys and girls to commit suicide. If a girl graduates and finds a job in an office, she ends up committing more sins, like zina. It is almost impossible to avoid unveiling and informal socializing with non-mahrim men in offices. This could be a taxi driver. This is a work environment. Person traveling to work, he could be taking a male and female, just traveling alone. There's many atmospheres that we come across that people do not avoid and safeguarding their chastity. Every modest Muslim can understand its worldly and religious harm. Now there's a couplet here that mentions, by educating girls, we can definitely expect brides to dance happily in their own weddings. So the next topic, veil observing girls find it harder to get married. So let's listen to the question. What if family stops its girls from wearing veils? Because it is hard to find someone who will marry a girl who does not have any college education, who is uninterested in fashion, simple and wears a veil. Is it right to think like this? The answer: this is a misconception. No matter whatever happens, a woman will get married where she is predestined to do. If she is not predestined to get married, then no matter how educated and fashionable she is, no force in the world can have her get married. And if a delay in marriage is in store for her, then that is her destiny. Many educated, fashionable women and virgins die every day in tragedies or illnesses. Many young girls drown whilst enjoying a swim at the sea. Some, due to unveiling and fashion craze, get caught up in the net of unreal love, but find the door of love marriage closed and resort to suicide. Never assume that you will only get what you want by the sins of unveiling and fashion addicts, etc. Please try to understand my message through this shocking story. My master, Ala Hazrat Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayhi, narrated, Sayyidina Imam Sufyan Suri Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayhi told a man not to work for the government because it is difficult to avoid oppression and sin while serving rulers. The man asked, what will I do about my family? He replied, listen to this. This man says, if I disobey Allah Azza wa Jal, He Azza wa Jal will feed my family, but if I obey Him, He Azza wa Jal will leave me without food. So no matter how harshly Islamic sisters are tested, they must not stop observing veil, meaning the hijab. May Allah Azza wa Jal create ease for you for the sake of the princes of paradise, Sayyidatuna Fatima, and mothers of all believers, Sayyidatuna Aisha Sadiqa radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. Surah Al-Nashrah in part 30 states, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. So indeed with hardship is ease. Indeed with hardship is ease. So may Allah Azza wa Jal grant all our sisters patience and give them the ability to observe veil and protect their chastity. And may Allah Azza wa Jal give His ability to avoid in school, colleges, universities, such relations that will lead to danger. Ameen. Bijahin Nabil. Ameen. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam.